Our next presenter has worked for is Jerry Voigt. Has worked for ACPA for 31 years. Last 14 as its president and CEO. Prior to becoming CEO, Jerry worked as association's chief operating officer and vice president. His career with ACPA started in 1988 as director of technical services. Prior to joining the staff at ACPA, he's worked as an engineering consultant. He has a BS and MS in civil engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and is a registered professional engineer in the state of Illinois. Let's welcome Jerry Voigt. Give us a national perspective on ACPA.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning to all you brave souls that are wondering how much snow is going to be on your car or whether you're going to be able to travel back to wherever you came from after this conference is over. It was a very encouraging discussion that we just heard from the leadership of PennDOT. And what I hope to do this morning is as a little bit of a, I hope you'll hear some similarities, because I certainly felt some similarities from what we heard, and the remarks I'm going to give this morning are a combination of two programs that we have. One related to competition, which we call Concrete Competes, and another called Vision 2040. Now, at your tables, you all have a document that we prepared called Vision 2040, and I would encourage you to pick it up and leaf through it. It's something we talked about here last year, and it's an effort that's been ongoing for about 18 months, and we've produced this document to kind of as our memorializing of the vision that a group came together and said, this is where things are going, and tried to imagine how concrete pavement could fit into that future. And that's to help us keep in our mind's eye as we go forward as an industry, the things that we need to do, the things that we need to be cognizant of in helping create that vision, and helping create an opportunity for concrete pavement within that vision. And there certainly is. There's I'm going to start where I'm going to end, which is I think our future is really very bright for our industry. There are so many things coming forward that are an opportunity for us, and it's just about seizing it. It's just about shaping that future, and that's what we're all about. I mean, there's a part of that though that we have to have that opportunity, and that's where the competition comes in. And you're hearing that word more and more, and you'll hear it from our industry more and more locally. You're going to certainly hear it from our industry nationally as we move forward. So with that, I'm going to start by giving you an idea, giving you a kind of a national perspective here on the U.S. paving volume. So this you can see on this bar graph. What we have here is about for 2018 we had about a 53 million square yard market. Now, if I recall right, there was 670,000 square yards in the state of Pennsylvania by the DOT in that same year, in 2018. And in the past, looking backwards in Pennsylvania's history, there's been upwards of 2 million square yards. So we're not where we have been in terms of the amount of paving that's been done. But interesting, correspondingly, there is more money being spent on pavement today than there were in the days past. So it's not that the money isn't there, it's that how the money is being used is part of the equation here. But you can get a sense then from this graph that we're around that 50 million square yard, 50 to 55 million square yards. 2019 projecting to be a good year for us again. 2017 was a bit of an off year, but we're optimistic about the usage of concrete pavement going forward, and our projected numbers, give us some of that optimism. Now, the other part of the picture is the concrete overlay use. We have built a market for concrete overlays in many states. Not so much here as we heard, but hopefully going forward we'll see some more of that. But as a percentage of our total volume, we're looking at somewhere on average now about 12% of our volume on an annualized basis across the country are in concrete overlays. And I can tell you about half of that are 6 inches or thinner pavements. So it's a market that hasn't been our traditional application of concrete pavements, but it's one that we've developed, and I give a lot of credit to the Concrete Pavement Technology Center at Iowa State University, who's worked on that technology on behalf of the industry and with agencies that are keenly interested in it. And we've gotten to the point where we have this a very good technical handle on how to do this and where to apply it and how to make it successful. So we have built quite a technology there that's really ready to be used anywhere, and certainly here in the state of Pennsylvania. So where we're at in this process with Vision 2040 is, we've gone through this convening of a panel and doing this visioning exercise and trying to account for and factor in all these different things that are heading our way as an industry and as a nation. And we coupled that with a workshop where we brought in some DOTs, that Colorado DOT in particular, that is very forward-thinking on some of these things, and learn from them. And so we call it our Shape the Future workshop. And now we're in the process of developing an action plan. And some of what you'll see in that booklet will be part of that plan. And some of what I'll talk about this morning will be part of that plan. And we have an endeavor right now of expanding our promotion effort nationwide. And that Vision 2040 will certainly be a big part of our expanded promotion efforts as we move forward. So we're really on this on the start of that, and we're coming into year. We've got a 20-year horizon in essence, just slightly more than that, a 20-year horizon to see things through and to make that vision a reality. So some of the meaningful questions we've pondered. It's good for us to pause sometimes and think about these things. This is what we've done. Well, so the question is, what will transportation look like in the future? What are public agencies' needs for a pavement solution now and in the future? Because certainly things we do now with the longevity of concrete pavements, if we're building pavements now, they should be, very good still performing pavements by the time we get to 2040. We build projects and we build pavements to last. And so we got to think about what we're doing now is in addition to what we need to do to meet these challenges. What do we need to change now in order to keep our pavements, as we'd like them, to meet our hallmarks of longevity and of durability? What are those things we need to start changing now? And what role with the many different things that are coming our way can concrete pavements play? And then, how do we make a difference there? How can ACPA and ACPA Pennsylvania chapter help you as a DOT or as an agency, a state of your county, or a consulting engineer? How do we help you to get there? Those are the questions that we've been pondering. And one part of that, one aspect of that, is where competition comes in. Before we get to that, this is the part that kind of grounds us in the need for transportation. It's not getting any easier out there. America needs more pavements. In 30 years, there's going to be 70 million population growth. 70 million more people in this country needing things, right? Needing to live, needing groceries, needing clothes, needing all housing, needing everything that it takes to have a life. Right? That's the equivalent, just to give you a sense of it, that's the equivalent of 5.5 times the population of the state of Pennsylvania that we are going to be adding to this country. Now, it's going to be spread out geographically. But what we also know is that we have not been keeping up. Here's a projection of the vehicle miles traveled from 1950 to 2040. So some of this is historical, and some of this is projected forward. And I'll point out this AVO term, which is average vehicle occupancy. The status quo, as you can see it right there, is 1.67 people per vehicle. So you and 2/3 of a person sitting next to you is the average vehicle occupancy. Now, there's some predictions moving forward that I don't believe will happen, which is that that average will go up because of ride sharing and some of these other things carpooling taking off. I think the reality is probably we're going to be more or less on the status quo. But there is also some predictions that this, with the pod type vehicles, the automated vehicles, that you could see an even lower figure for vehicle occupancy. In other words, more vehicles per person rather than more people per vehicle. And the predictions come from the automation. It's just so easy to put the kids in the car. The car's automatic. It takes them where they want to be. Or, grandma and grandpa to take them to their doctor's appointments. All that kind of thing. It just makes it easier on us to get. So, hey, we'll have more vehicles. So it's a convenience factor, right? So there's a prediction of that too. My sense is we're probably going to be more or less about where we are, or maybe a little bit more. I think the vehicles of the future are going to be pretty something. And I think the competition that's out there and all that technology is going to make them fairly affordable. And so we're going to see, I think, somewhere more like this rather than this type of scenario. I don't think that challenge is going away personally, but only getting stronger. And here's the other end of it. Here's the denominator of the problem, which is the growth that we have out there. The usage is it certainly has been, and more or less more likely to continue to be, way outpacing the capacity, right? So this is your road miles in the purple bars, and in the blue or dark, the darker color is your vehicle miles traveled, actual and predicted. So a lot of technology is going to have to be worked on how to do this, have density and so forth. But bottom line is, America needs more pavements. Pennsylvania will certainly need more pavements. There is no future for us that we see where transportation is just going to go away. We're all going to be the Jetsons out there flying around in cars that don't need pavements. That's not the near-term future for us. In fact, population density will further impact road network congestion. That's our reality going forward. And the way it was put in our 2040 report, the majority of the U.S. population is going to live in these mega regions, right? Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, the middle of the state here, Harrisburg. All these are mega regions. There are going to be more and more people with more and more density. And we've got to accommodate for them. We've got to be able to provide them goods and services and so forth. So how does that happen? Is there going to be this magic Amazon Prime, everybody's going to get everything they need by drone delivery? We certainly see that. That's some whiz-bang cool stuff, right? Anybody know what this is? This is the inside of an Amazon distribution center. It's really impressive. It's huge, and it's got a lot of different things in there that get shipped everywhere. Right now, they get shipped by trucks, vans, delivery vans. But we often think about how it gets from here to us. But how about the other side of the equation? How about from wherever it's made to that Amazon distribution facility? Right? We often don't think about the Amazon Prime trucks that are carrying the loads to get there. We always think about that other end of the equation. But what this is the reality that the prediction is 43% more freight traffic by 2040. So not only are we going to have more vehicles on the road, but we're going to need more freight, because all the people that we're adding to the country are going to need things to live, right? So the challenge is not getting any easier. And do you realize that over 80% of all communities in our country, the only way, the exclusive way that they can get their fuel, clothing, materials, all these things is by truck? 80%. So the challenge is not getting any easier. It's only going to get harder. So Vision 2040, if you take anything away from the Vision 2040 concept this morning, take this away. Freight needs roads, and trucks need concrete. This is the part why we feel really, really good about and optimistic about the future for our industry. Predictions are that by 2040, freight's going to move on dedicated freight networks or corridors via these autonomous connected trucks where they can get density and all that. To develop those systems, you're going to need some pavements with longevity, minimal service disruption, might be opportunities to allow for increased axle loads, tire pressures, platooning, all those types of things. And those are things that technically concrete pavements can accommodate very easily and very well. Just got to design them into our approach. So we feel really good about these opportunities. So now, at this point, what you think, what is our role in meeting these challenges and opportunities? And certainly the agencies, the PennDOTs and the other DOTs have a role, and certainly industry has a role. And as we're looking forward, we're thinking about those things that we can do to innovate, to be part of the solutions going forward. So what is the role for the DOTs like PennDOT and others? And this is where competition comes in, because I think it's an issue that hasn't been has been taken advantage of as much as it should. The data is all there to show how important it really is. So, as an agency, instituting policies that create healthy competing industries will help us innovate. It'll help us to create these realities faster than if you just stick with the status quo. And competition, as I mentioned, is probably the single most overlooked aspect of getting the most of your pavement investments. So what I'm really talking about here is including asphalt and concrete. When you do that in your program, and you do that programmatically, you do that intentionally, you will end up with lower unit bid prices. You will be able to do more with the same budget you have now. We all know that the resources are constrained. That's going to provide value to the agency owner. We have the proof. We know and I'll show you some statistics from MIT and some statistics that we've worked on, looking at the bid tabs. Those agencies that do this, that have that intentionally, they reap the benefit of lower unit bid prices. So there is proof that agencies benefit from the presence of both pavement types. And so really, when the reality of it is, it's about extending the purchasing power and motivating the industries to innovate. That's what the competition is all about. It's pretty fundamental. Lowers bid prices. We know from Wisconsin, from Iowa, California, from Texas, where there are stronger pavement programs, where there's more balance in those programs. And we're not talking 50% concrete or 60 or 70%. We're talking about 35%, a third of the program. Not a lot when you think about it. It has a huge benefit on these systems. You get industries that are working. You get industries that are sustained, and so they can invest more and so forth. So there's no engineering reason why this can't be done. Pennsylvania could benefit from it. Right now, I think it's about 10% is the level of concrete pavement compared to asphalt pavement in terms of material volumes. So there's room for making a difference here on your unit bid prices and what your program can do. Having multiple bidders, we get this question. Having multiple bidders is not enough on projects. And what this shows is, maybe I'll point over here this time. What this shows is that when you have contractor competition for projects, you're getting some competition here, yes, at the first level, but you may not be. And we have a neighboring state to Pennsylvania that has run into this problem, where they don't have competition in the material supplying side of this. So really, when you bring in both industries and do the competition, you end up with more bidding at the project level, more contractors participating, but you also end up with competition at the material supplying level. So this has been looked at in terms of numbers. What is the net effect of that? Okay, so there's a 3% impact in lowering bid prices when you are just at the first level. But if you go through to the second level, as much as a 14% impact on lowering bid prices. 14% is a huge number when you think about the budget of a DOT spending on paving. So this is not a trivial suggestion. This is a really, really important part, and it doesn't take a lot of change to do it. Particularly here in Pennsylvania, you've got all the tools in the toolbox to take this on. What else happens? Well, competition improves quality. When you have competition in a healthy competing industries, they can afford to invest in their equipment, in their people, in training of their workforce, because it's not a one-and-done scenario for them. It's sustainable. They train their people, and they know there's continuing work for those people. They know when they invest in equipment, they'll be able to utilize that equipment on other projects. It just makes the whole thing build upon itself. And quality control measures go with that. So you invest in the quality level as you are invested in that type of work. So ultimately for the agency, it reduces risks and costs as well. So that all kind of ties together. All it becomes an overall riding benefit. It spurs innovation. As talking about Vision 2040, we need competition to be pushing out both industries to do better. Forces innovation when you have competition. We see that anywhere. You look at telephones, you look at smartphones, I should say. All this stuff is with competition comes innovation, comes advancement. Same thing in our industry. It'll make both products better, and that's a good thing. History shows for our industry, those places where we have it had a history of this. We see that's where most of our advancements come from. Slip-form paving, stringless paving, two-lift paving, concrete overlays. These are the states and the places where the advancements for our industry are basically born, and then we try to transmit them out. But if more were doing it, imagine what could become for our industry. And of course, the public benefits. So, how's the picture look around the country? Here's a map. This came from MIT. We did a similar one, but this shows a share in kind of a range of colors, showing the share of pavement between 100%, which are the deep dark reds, down to the lighter colors, which again, I said it was about 35% or so. So 64% asphalt. This is a share of asphalt kind of way of looking at this map. So dark red, 100% asphalt, lighter colors, maybe 2/3 asphalt, 1/3 concrete. How's that look in Pennsylvania if you break that down? John showed this map earlier. This is kind of what it looks like in Pennsylvania. So is there room for improved competition in the state of Pennsylvania? You're darn right there is. There's plenty of places where we could see that happen. And again, you'll lower your unit bid prices. You'll extend your buying power of your budget. This chart was up there a couple times this morning. It's just another illustration that there's room to do more here with this issue. Let's look at this. Is there really a unit price relationship? This has been studied several ways, most recently by MIT. This is our work, ACPA's work, looking at, we had access to all the bid tabulations, so we did an analysis. We said, boy, there really is something here. And what you see is with increasing competition, you get lower unit bid prices. And each one of those dots, as John mentioned this morning, is a state. And the ones on the furthest, as you're looking at this, and the ones on the furthest right are the states of Wisconsin and Iowa, and those states that have the most competitive, over the long run, the most competitive programs. So it stands to reason that this relationship does develop over time. Here's another way to look at it. It's called a break-even analysis. So if we have a budget, a $200 million budget for our pavement, we have different portions that we just as a scenario, based on the relationship that we have here with price, pointing at the wrong screen, but as the relationship we have here with the unit price based on the percentage, we can calculate what you can do with that. And you can see, it's correspondingly what the changes in the unit price of the asphalt with the changes in the unit price of the concrete. And in the end, you can see for not that much difference in tons of asphalt, about 300,000 on 2.1 million or 2.4 million, you're getting almost 2 million square yards of concrete pavement. It's huge. Why wouldn't anyone want to instill that into their program? That's 187 lane miles more for the same investment, just by instilling competition between industries in your program. Looking at it another way, and John showed this morning, you get so much more material, right? We're talking about, little changes making huge differences in terms of the volume of material that the money buys. So this is just a different way of looking at it. He already showed that, but you get the point. It's really important. So that was our analysis, but how about MIT? MIT did a study. We asked them to do it. We wanted to make sure we weren't off base here. So MIT performed this. They did use 10 years of DOT bid lighting data, 47 states, 164,000 projects, and 298,000 pay items. So not a trivial amount of data, a huge amount of data. Their conclusion, increasing competition between paving material industries, lower paving costs for both asphalt and concrete. And this is likely to have a huge and significant savings for DOTs and taxpayers. This is the way they presented the information in an interesting way. They say if for an average state spending currently 5% on concrete, increasing to one of these levels, this is how much you're going to decrease your paving unit prices. So, quite a bit of change in everybody here that went to high school had an economics class. We know that competition, it's fundamental to the way our economy works, right? It's no different in our industry. So the challenge to PennDOT and to other DOTs is to use that knowledge. Lowers unit prices, spurs innovation, improves quality, enhances network performance. Jim Mack's going to talk a lot about the network performance part here later. You can build more pavements for the same budget, and when it comes to something like Vision 2040, it positions us much better to prepare for those future trends of freight and traffic. So the challenge to our industry, though, is to innovate, right? That's our end of the bargain here. We need to innovate our materials, our design, and our construction methods. Performance engineered mixtures. This is a trail we've been on here for a couple of years, and the CP Tech Center is leading that effort. And we need to see this through because we need to deliver our promised durability every time. We need to really get down to where we're specifying, we're building based on durability factors. And we're on that trail, and I believe wholeheartedly before too long we're going to have a system of specifying and qualifying our pavements so that we can deliver on that without fail. We need to innovate to meet technology needs. Agencies need better, adaptable, resource-efficient pavements going forward, ones that have that reliable performance, because the challenge isn't getting any easier. Right? You need that from your solutions that you're putting forward as an agency, and we need to make sure that we are delivering on that. We also need to be able to be flexible enough that we can accommodate the sensors and all those things that are needed for the connected vehicles of the future. How do we do that? How will we build concrete pavements with that kind of technology? It's an interesting area of development that we'll need to be looking at as we go forward. We need to improve our construction quality, and one of the things that I think is, I keep talking about this, is I think one of the most important things we could do for the quality of the slab as it comes out the back of the paving machine is to coordinate the material, rheology, the nature of the concrete itself with the vibration and with the paving speed, so that when we're extruding concrete, it comes out uniformly out the back of that machine.
when we get all those things, and when we're able to sense what that wet or dry load or whatever we're doing, the variations there, and tie it to the paving machine, we are going to be providing you one of the most super smooth and well consolidated and everything products out the back of the machine. That's the direction we need to head. We need to innovate to better optimize our resources, utilizing materials on site, utilizing recycled materials, repurposed materials, and in all layers, the subgrade, the subbase, and the pavement itself. We need to continuously improve our design methods, design for more efficient structures, design for thinner concrete resurfacings, and so forth. So we need to continue to innovate here. There's been a lot of work done on this, but this is not we're not there with Asheville Pavement ME. We need to continue to innovate in this area. We need to innovate to help owner agencies improve capacity and efficiency. This is where that Vision 2040 trucks, automated trucks and dedicated truck porter type things come in. This is one concept, courtesy of Tyler Lay from Oklahoma, where you have channelized trucks using electric overhead lines. There's other ways to do it, but the point is we need to work on how would we do that. How could we create these corridors? How could concrete pavements be used in that type of scenario? Very, very interesting. And then lastly, last slide, we need workforce development. That's a challenge for all of us. That was mentioned earlier, and it's a major industry challenge. My thought here is if everybody's doing something, even if it's small, we can make a difference. Combine all those things together. But what we really need to do is make sure that folks, young folks that are contemplating their careers and what they're going to do for the rest of their lives, understand there's an opportunity in the industry, in the transportation industry, in the concrete pavement industry, in the asphalt pavement, in all the industry that supports transportation, and the DOT side, consulting side as well. For ACPA, we've created a small interns program that we're embarking on, and we asked the members if they might consider a contribution to help us grow that, to give something back. So it's certainly an important part to try to motivate young folks to get involved in our industry. So I'll conclude with just my thought that our future is bright. We really do have a lot to think forward, a role that we're going to play in this future as things unfold and the technology takes hold. It's going to be a good future for the concrete pavement industry. So thank you this morning. Hopefully the weather doesn't hurt us too much here, but appreciate the opportunity. Thanks. Are there any questions? I guess I should ask, huh? You won't be on camera. All right. Thank you very much.